There it is. I've never seen one going quite so far down. It's quite so quickly. That is Keir Starmer's popularity rating.
Yeah, that's Trussian.
It is, isn't it?
Impressive.
It really is. I mean, he's been in, what, 3 and a bit months?
Yeah.
It's time for Keir Starmer to write a book in the Guinness World Record as the one who is most hated in our country. No one stands on ceremony with him anymore, and he himself does not forget to humiliate and disgrace himself at every performance. The more we try to find out about him, the more terrifying dark secrets we learn. The humiliation gets more and more severe as we start watching the first scene.
Well, something people might find quite interesting is that Prime Minister Keir Starmer hasn't yet commented on any of this. Not personally, anyway. But a Number 10 spokeswoman said, "The government is focused on ensuring the families and all those affected receive justice." Well, speaking at a press conference earlier today, Chief Constable Serena Kennedy from Merseyside Police did warn everyone against online speculation and the potential risk for prejudicing any upcoming trial.
My plea is to be patient. Don't engage in rumour and speculation. Don't believe everything you read on social media. We must not lose sight of the families of Elsie, BB and Alice, who are still grieving.
A suspect in the Southport murders has been charged with manufacturing the deadly poison resin and studying a manual for the radical after it was found at his home. He will have to plead guilty next month. The government and the authorities have been telling us for several months that they do not consider this an act of terrorism. And any suggestion of a cover-up will permanently undermine public confidence that we are being told the truth about crime in our country. Starmer must explain to the country what he knew about the attack in Southport and when he found out about it.
If he were as unpopular as Keir Starmer, you might start to get a bit of a complex about it, you know, because he doesn't seem to realise quite how unpopular he is. Have a look at what he said yesterday.
In fact, because I know that actions speak louder than words, because I expect to be judged by the British people, in coming weeks, on every mission, we will publish clear ambitions for this Parliament. And we will also track our progress against them. So every single person in this country can see exactly how we measure up to the things that matter to them.
Shall we have a look at how they measure up to the things that matter to us? Here's the graph. There it is. I've never seen one going quite so far down.
Starmer has never been a popular politician. He, like no other politician in our history, benefited from the shortcomings of the majority electoral system, winning 63% of seats in Parliament with less than 34% of the vote. It was obvious that Labour would quickly become unpopular, given the problems they inherited from the Conservatives, in particular those related to illegal immigration. In the first few months, governments usually enjoy the anticipation of the people. Starmer is clearly not one of them, judging by the results of the poll, according to which voters preferred Rishi. Not only is Starmer not popular, but so is the Labour Party. The biggest problem that caused Starmer's rating to drop was depriving pensioners of fuel allowances in winter. By the way, about £9 billion from the black hole were obtained thanks to the increase in salaries in the public sector, which was provided by the Labour Party. Starmer pleases his union bosses and condemns pensioners to poverty. Starmer has long criticised Conservatives for their stance on energy bills and attacked Rishi Sunak when it emerged that his government was considering cancelling winter fuel payments. Starmer promised that energy bills would go down if Labour won the election. Not only have they grown up, but vulnerable pensioners have had their vital support of around £300 taken away.
Wrong. And I thought after 100 days, well, they got rid of Sue Gray, they're saying they're ripping everything up, they're starting again, maybe it'll get better.
But it's not getting any better. So, I mean, Sue Gray obviously wasn't the problem, was she?
Yeah, no, it's funny that, actually, you throw somebody under the bus and it'll all be fine now, and it turns out, no, the budget's still going to be just as bad.
And the budget's still going to be just as bad, and we'll get on to the budget in a second, but have a look at this, and look at the kind of, what I would call the most ridiculous sort of, rictus grin that you've ever seen in your life, which tells me that this is a very insincere statement about Rachel Reeves.
It will also be the first budget delivered by a woman ever. That is a moment of pride. When Rachel Reeves stands up, she will be making history.
Sue Gray provoked a fierce struggle for power in the government by receiving a significant salary increase, which made her salary higher than Starmer's. She received £170,000. Her pay rise came at a time when ministers claimed there was so little money that they were forced to cancel winter fuel payments for 10 million pensioners. This scandal is another nuisance that Starmer has brought upon himself. Preparations for his first Labour Party conference as Prime Minister have already been marred by controversy over his decision to accept thousands of pounds worth of clothes for himself and his wife. Sue Gray's salary, by the way, is the highest ever paid to a special consultant. Starmer's decision once again shows his hypocrisy. In 2021, he publicly criticised the decision to raise the salary of chief advisor.
And I can tell you, young women and girls across the country will be watching, they will look up, and they will notice.
No, they won't, because they won't care about the budget. Young women and girls will not be watching the budget, I'm afraid. They might be watching the latest Taylor Swift video. They're not sitting there glued to their parliamentary channels, are
Yeah, the sort of young women and girls that will be watching it are not necessarily the ones that you want to be sort of congratulating for doing something. I'm saying get outside.
But isn't it pathetic, though? I mean, I said this to Christian, my producer. It's not 1924. You shouldn't be going, oh, isn't it great? We've got a woman chancellor.
Yeah.
Well, you still haven't had a woman leader, despite the fact that the Tories managed to get 3.
Well, that's the point. The Tories are sort of just rattling off through them. Good ones, bad ones, ones in the middle, you know,
well, how about
running the whole gamut.
You're not judging people because of their gender. You just go, well, actually, she might be a great chancellor or she might be a terrible chancellor. I don't care whether she's a man or...
A major Labour sponsor has told people who promised to leave the UK in the event of a tax increase to go to hell. Dale Vince posted the message just days before the Chancellor's first budget speech. He donated £5 million to the Labour Party before the general election in July.
No, exactly.
Actually, after the next government gets.
And they're taking the money from all the people that have, you know, striven and worked hard and put money away and maybe bought a house and maybe put some money into a pension or an ISA. More than 1 million low-paid workers are going to get a pay rise of more than 6%. I don't really mind that, but again, I'm just going to ask, where's the money coming from? Yeah,
that's honestly, I mean, when they talk about wanting better public services, we understand that obviously a lot of that has to come from tax. Nobody disagrees with that. But for that to work, you need economic growth. And in this country, we've had anemic economic growth. Effectively, we've been in recession since the 2008 financial crisis. It's been massaged with mass migration, which, you know, improves one aspect
with mass
of
migration
GDP, but not others.
And also investment in the public sector. So that the public sector is now 50% of the economy, when it used to be only 33%.
The biggest problems of the British economy are a very severe cost of living crisis and a rapid increase in the discount rate. Naturally, a sharp drop in our level brought us to protest. The decline in GDP was largely facilitated by strikes of railway workers and doctors, as well as a drop in retail sales. The head of the British Central Bank, Andrew Bailey, tried to calm us down and said that there is nothing terrible about a technical recession.
To be able to see a doctor, that's actually what matters.
If that's okay. And while you're giving all these billions of pounds to the NHS, it would be quite nice if it was going to make a difference. But for them to come out now and massage it already before they've given the money to say, we're giving billions of pounds to the NHS, but actually it's not going to make any difference. The juxtaposition on the front page of the Times and the Telegraph is, NHS will need more tax rises, signals Reeves, Telegraph. Tax rises won't cure NHS, Labour concedes Times. Well, there you are. Give us your money. Will it make any difference? It won't make any difference.
Probably not.
So, you know, if you were in business, say, for example, you know, sort of hypothetically, I know that nobody in the Labour government's ever been in business, but if they have been, surely they might say, well, do you know what? If it's not going to make any difference, maybe we shouldn't give them the money.
Starmer promised to make democracy work better for everyone. The significance of Labour's victory will ultimately depend on whether the party can deliver on its promises, especially in terms of reviving economic growth. The UK's economic performance over the last 14 years of Tory rule has been abysmal. Per capita income growth has been slow, and the country's leaders have not been able to solve the obvious productivity problem. The volume of products produced by an employee per unit of time is inferior to similar indicators in the United States, France and Germany. Recognizing that the lack of public and private investment is at the heart of sluggish productivity and the performance of the UK labour market, Labour has voiced ideas to stimulate economic recovery. But in order to increase public investment in health, education, infrastructure and technology, which Starmer promised, the government will need to increase tax revenues and hit the most vulnerable segments of the population. Their dream came true. What do you think about this video? Share your thoughts in the comments. See you.